In this week's Torah portion, we speak about the nedavis of the mishkan, the donations to the mishkan, and in general, the commandment on the mishkan. And we see that the word truma can mean a donation and also uplifting, lifting up. And as we know, that the mishkan was a dwelling place for God, specifically in the Kodesh Kodashim, the Holy of Holies. We saw God's presence in full glory. We saw the different levels of the mishkan, different levels of godliness. As it says, Hashemayim, Shmei Hashemayim lo yichal kalucha, that the heavens cannot be a true vessel for godliness, for the essence of God. Only the beis, hamikdosh, the mishkan, can be a place for God. And the reason for that is because it's done by human beings. Hashem wanted our service. Hashem could have built his own mishkan. Hashem could have built the Aron, built everything himself. He does not need our help at all. But as it says, a person would want one measurement for himself, then 10 measurements of someone else's. Because it's his accomplishment. And when he does that, his one accomplishment he does, he gets all the other strength also. The same thing is with the mishkan. That Hashem dwelled in the mishkan that was built by Yidden. Hashem wants our service. So even though our service is limited, but through the truma, you get elevated to a much higher level. So one of the things we see by the truma, the donation, is as follows. The whole donation was in order to bring the godliness of God in the beis hamikdosh, in the mishkan. So there was a purpose for it. We knew that the money is going towards the dwelling of God in the mishkan. So it gave us a more of a chayus, a liveliness in the mitzvah. Excuse me. So therefore, when it comes to the truma, a person can say, I'll give kesef, or maybe I'll give nechoshes. And then when I have zav, gold, I'll give gold also. And I get richer, I'll give zav. The Torah starts off with zav. He does not start off with kesef and nechoshes. Until the Aron was made from zahav, a coating of gold. The Meneder was pure gold. So therefore, every Yid has to give zav. You have to give your best to Hashem. To yourself, you can be satisfied with a little. But for Hashem, you have to give the best. Then he says, okay, maybe I'm connected to Zav. But what kind of connection do I have to Kesef and Nechoshes? I'll give Zav. I don't have to give Kesef and Nechoshes. Why do I have to give silver and copper? Let the rest give silver and copper. The Torah tells us that you have a heichel. And without the heichel, without the rest of the beis hamikdosh, which was made out of silver, we wouldn't have the Kodesh HaKadoshim either. You cannot have the Kodesh Kedoshim without silver. Like it says, the Adonim were made out of silver. The sockets were made out of silver. Without that, you can't have Kodesh Kedoshim. You need to have the whole beis hamikdosh. Okay? Okay, we'll give Kesef. We'll give in to you, Eibishter. What about Nechoshes? What do you need Nechoshes for? What kind of connection do I have Nechoshes? One of the things of Nechoshes is that it was the kiyur was made out of it. And he says, what do I have to do with the kiyur? I'm holy enough without the kiyur. I don't need the kiyur. I don't need copper. Let other people use copper. So we tell you that. So we tell you that, wait a second. Do you know how they made the kiyur? Let's think where they get copper from for the kiyur. It says that the women use those mirrors of copper to beautify themselves for their husbands. Moshe Rabbeinu said, why are you going to use this? That women beautify themselves. Why should we use this for the beis hamikdosh? How were the kids born? And which kids pronounced? That this is God. From the maris atzovis that they had. From the mirrors that they beautify themselves for the husbands. And to have shalom bayis. And that was from the maris atzovis. That's what they made the kiyur from. So you have to know that something which brings forth holy kids, the ones that pronounce Zeh Keli Vanveyu, this is God. The vessels are very pure. The vessels that we use in order to bring forth pure children. Children that they saw with their own eyes and pointed Zeh Keli Vanveyu. So you have to know that if you don't want to do Nechoshes, you're missing out. And together with that, you might think that you don't have any connection to Nechoshes. Well, you have to bring a likus to the lowest levels to make a dira b'tachtonim. We cannot be satisfied with ourselves sitting in our shul all alone and not dealing with the world. You must deal with the world. And that's why you need Nechoshes also. So by being in tune with the beis hamikdosh, being in tune with the mishkan, learning the parasha of Truma, Chumash and Rashi, every day, connected to Chitas, the Eibusher says as if you're building the beis hamikdosh. Not only the gold, not only the silver, and not only the copper, but all 15 things. And Be'ez Hashem will have the rebuilding of the third beis hamikdosh taken for miyad mamish now, which this beis hamikdosh comes from our service in the time of Galus. So it should be taken from miyad mamish now. Long live our master, teacher, and Rebbe, King Moshiach forever and ever. Long live our master, teacher, and Rebbe, King Moshiach forever and ever. Long live our master, teacher, and Rebbe, King Moshiach forever and ever.